Joining us right now is Sridhar Ramaswamy. He is the co-founder and CEO of alternative ad-free search engine Neeva. He's also an investor at Greylock and a former SVP at Google. It is a sign maybe of how much innovation there is out in the world, Sridhar, but I'm curious whether you think that some of these older tech names can become new tech names again. AMD was counted out for many, many years, for example.
They can, but the fact of the matter is they're far behind. I mean, if you look at the market cap of companies like Intel at like 250 billion and IBM at 100, they are far away from like the 2 trillion market caps that the Apples, Googles, and Microsoft have. And that in turn turns into massive investments in everything that they're involved with. I think it's a little bit of an uphill battle for these companies.
Do you look at the current crop that's at the top, the Apples, the Googles of the world, and you say 10 years from now, we're going to be seeing competition from companies we haven't even heard of? I mean, or do you think that the world is shifted in ways where there either isn't the innovation or the competitive environment is such that it's almost impossible to compete with some of these folks that are now at $2 trillion market caps?
Well, I started this, company, Neeva, the ads-free private search engine, because I think we need innovation. Similarly, I invest with Greylock, with a wonderful group of people, and we invest in new startups. So we definitely hope and think that there is going to be innovation. It does, make it hard for a new company to compete in the same space that these companies are in, but we need the innovation. It's not a question of whether there will be, but I think we really need it.
I'm curious. So on the screen right now, we have Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Alphabet. Do you know of a company that you think is either capable or hot on the heels or could be the next version of any of those companies right now?
Well, part of this is it's hard to, make predictions like that, right? But the environment changes. I think where we are today in our country is at a very different place from even 3 weeks ago, where things like privacy matter a lot more. We are talking a lot more about responsibility. We are talking a lot more about whether these companies are monopolies and whether they're preserving their monopolies in ways that are not good for all of us. So I do definitely think that the next 10 years are going to be very different from the past 10 years, where things like we accepted that in exchange for free services, it's fine to not have any privacy. It's fine to have all of our data taken. But more and more we are realizing that that comes at a big cost.
Sridhar, though, but if you're right, would you short Facebook right now? Would you short even an Amazon or a Google right now based on that assessment?
Well, I think I look at it from the viewpoint of you need innovation. So both in investing and in my company, Neeva, I focus on creating real alternatives. I mean, it's, shorting in some ways is a very short-term thing. We're building our companies for the long term. This includes my company, Neeva. We just think that by having a very different set of principles, we can create a superior product. I believe in the future in creating new and great things with the same technologies that these companies have used to get so big and so good.
Well, let me ask you a question. As someone who's trying to innovate themselves out of this, how much are you going to not depend on regulation, but how much do you think regulation is going to impact this? If the Department of Justice called you up right now and said, look, we're looking into Google, do you think that they make your job too hard?
I mean, search is one of the most important functions in all our lives. We turn to it every single day. And the fact of the matter is Google is a monopoly. But as folks will say, there's nothing wrong in being a monopoly. The DOJ case is focused on how Google uses agreements to preserve its monopoly. And to that extent, if it makes it easier for a company like Neeva to get in front of you as an option when you open up a browser for the first time, we think that is progress. And we think that will definitely help.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.